Welcome to Learning to Glow, a show about wellness, skin health, and self-development. I'm your host, Jess. I'm a mom, entrepreneur, and skincare expert. I'm so excited to share tips on how to achieve healthy skin and bring amazing guests in the field of health, fitness, aging gracefully, and personal growth. Let's explore all different ways we can take care of ourselves as women, both inside and out, to truly shine. So let's get glowing. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with me today. We have a great episode for you, and we are talking all things fragrance and how it can affect our health. Sarah Griffith is our guest, and she is with Treo Organics. She is sharing her health journey and how she was able to heal and clean up her environment after getting sick. There's such great information in this episode. We're all trying to minimize our toxic load as much as we can, and she gives so many great tips. We also talk about symptoms that you might not be aware of that are caused by different things in our environment. So Sarah's wonderful. Go and find her in my show notes. There's links to her website and her Instagram. She's wonderful. I really love this episode. And please share this with a friend, especially a mom who could use this helpful information, and enjoy this one. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And we have Sarah Griffith. Welcome to Learning to Glow podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So excited to have you. We were just chatting a little bit about hair, which is, so exciting, so fun to talk about. And finding the right hair care for yourself can be difficult, especially like somebody like me. I have really curly hair. It's very dry. We're going to talk about fragrance today. And I have not really talked about this on the podcast. I think a lot of people are aware of some of the harms that we can see with fragrance, but a lot of people don't. So I'm so excited to have you on to talk about this. But before we do, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. I'm a hairstylist of almost 30 years, which is crazy to say, but I own my own salon in Seattle called Treo Organics Salon. And I was kind of forced into the clean beauty world, like 15 or 20 years ago now. I was working in a hair salon that was very crowded, had very poor ventilation, and I also had moved into a new apartment that had just been remodeled, and I think it was off-gassing like the carpets and paint and glues and things, and I just started getting really sick all the time. I was having dizzy spells and nausea and shaking and headaches, and I couldn't really figure out what was going on. And somehow kind of chemical sensitivity came onto my radar, and I learned that it happens to a lot of hairstylists. And so I think because I was going from one kind of toxic place to another, my body wasn't ever having a chance to recoup or detox from that. So I took a break from work for a while, and I thought that I was going to have to quit the industry completely. I also moved, and that was like the start of changing my whole life, like throwing away all the perfumes, changing laundry detergent and dryer sheets and lotions and everything you can think of. And I had a pretty woo-woo mom who was kind of like that already, and I never, oh, whatever, mom, whatever. But I was like, oh, she's right. Like, this is bombarding my system, and I just couldn't tolerate it anymore. So I learned about clean hair care, and I moved to another salon where I had ventilation, moved my house, started using cleaner products, and it definitely helped. But no matter where I worked, it was always still somebody was using something that bothered me. So I ended up opening my own salon where I could be in control of the products that I was exposed to. And we installed a ventilation system, and we have lots of windows, and we were choosing the cleanest hair care products, but they all contain essential oils. And so somewhere along the lines, I realized that I need something fragrance free, but still works like professional hair care. So I started figuring out how to do that.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay. And now tell us, what is your health like?
So much better.
Okay.
So I definitely avoid situations like you won't catch me in the laundry aisle at Costco because I will get sick. But in my working life, it's so much better. We have the ventilation system going, we have windows open, and we use cleaner products. I can tolerate some essential oils, but so I just kind of know what I can tolerate and what I can't. And we actually attract a lot of clients that are just like me, so we try to keep everything, as minimal as possible. We have a sign on the door that says, please refrain from wearing fragrance or colognes for out of respect for people with sensitivities. So, but I think it's, they say 1 in 4 and even up to 1 in 3 people have fragrance sensitivities, and the numbers are growing. Kids are actually the fastest segment of fragrance sensitive people. So I think we're going to see this becoming more and more of a thing.
Yeah. Well,
Sadly
so
for
I'd
us.
like to talk about, before we move on from that, is like you mentioned some of the side effects that you were having, like
Yeah.
headaches and different things. Can we talk more about what are some of those health symptoms that people who are exposed, because there might be people that are experiencing these symptoms and or have not put two and two together.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
yeah. So what are some of those symptoms that people can be affected, how they could be affected by fragrance?
Well, it can trigger asthma symptoms for some people. Headaches is,
Mm.
I think, a really common one. Dizzy spells for me was a huge one. Brain fog, things you don't think about, like just feeling really discombobulated, like it's neurological. Even using products on your skin with it, eczema. Dermatologists will tell you right away, like, what are you using for laundry sheets? What are you using for detergent? Your lotions. And fragrance is just a hodgepodge of many ingredients that they don't have to disclose because it's like an umbrella for their secret ingredients. So we don't actually know what combination of things they're putting in fragrance. So you can't totally pinpoint what you're allergic to. So avoiding it in general is the best way to go.
Yeah, that's something that is very interesting. And then there's so many hidden places where I think people don't realize that there's fragrance. And then if you are kind of overloaded with it, like you were,
Yeah.
it's like you couldn't escape it. It was home, it was work. And then it just, your body gets to a point where it's like, I can't handle this anymore. So I think it's really interesting with what you were saying about, some people who come in and have some symptoms. They're talking about dryer sheets, or tell us some of the places and like where you started to clean things up other than your environment at work and at home. Like, were you using Glade plugins, or, were you using
I
fragrance in your,
It wasn't as bad as Glade plugins. I'm like the Glade plugin police wherever I go. I'm like writing letters to the business, like, did you know that this causes this and this? But I started my own bathroom. That was the first place that I started. My husband was so mad because we had all these expensive colognes and perfumes, and I'm like, nope, they're going. He's like, I just got you that for Christmas. I'm like, too bad, buddy. But the laundry, dishwashing detergent, dishwashing liquid, it's like, do you really want that? Like your plate smelling like perfume? I did do like smelly candles before that. I quit doing that. The smelly hair care. And then I did really actually change my diet a lot too because I was so sick. I just felt like it was like a complete overhaul. No more fast food. It was just like a 180, like pump the brakes.
Yeah, that makes sense, because when you start to clean things up, I remember back when I started learning about how our body can be affected by fragrance. I mean, that's one of the biggest things. I worked at a cosmetic counter. I worked at Chanel
Oh,
Cosmetics when I
oh,
was like 21. And I remember we came out with a new line, a new skincare line. And I cannot tell you how many people came back with the product and was like, I cannot use this. I don't know what happened. People would say, I got a headache from using this. I got major breakouts, like rashes from using this. I mean, you would open the jar and you was just like, whoo. I mean, the overpowering fragrance, and especially like cosmetic brands, especially back then. I think they've gotten with the times a little bit, but this was a while ago. And the fragrance was so powerful in all of the skincare and body care items that it was like people were having massive reactions from this new line. It was so strong. I mean, and that was kind of the thing a lot of people liked, but it was causing so many problems. That's really stuck with me. And then going, after I stopped working there and learning more about skin and how it's transdermal, like what we put on our skin, it absorbs into our system.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just like you have to kind of be aware of that. And even when you said the kids, look at all of the things that are in the kids' products. So it's like, it's kind of overwhelming. If you were like, okay, this is something that I want to take a closer look at, what do you recommend people start with?
To me, I think laundry is always the number one. I think it's the smelliest. I can smell somebody a mile away that uses like Tide or Gain or those laundry beads. I'm like, that's not making it cleaner. You're just adding stink. And I believe it's phthalates that it makes those smells stick to things that it's near. So I can give somebody a hug and walk away and smell them on me all day, and it'll make me sick. I've had to ask a couple of my clients I'm like, I can't do your hair unless you change laundry detergent, which is so embarrassing, but that's how greatly it affects, I know, me and other people. So I just think like starting one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Perfume, obviously, going back to that, I know so many women with like thyroid conditions, and where do you spray perfume? And like you said, your skin is your biggest organ. Everything you put on your skin gets absorbed. If that weren't true, we wouldn't have hormone patches and birth control patches and pain patches. The skin is so important. So like lotions or, even hair color, lots of us color our hair. I use the cleanest hair color out there, but nothing's totally safe. There's always risk. So limiting your risk. Like a lot of people will do like the 80-20, will like, 80% of me is clean, but I definitely have to have my hair colored,
Yeah.
So I don't think you can be perfect, but I think starting somewhere is so valuable. And even if you like to wear perfume, there's clean perfumes you can wear. Like go to Credo Beauty. They vet all of their companies that they use. They have to be clean. They have to be sustainable. They have to give back. And that they've done the work for you to get something safer. And then, if you're starting with a clean foundation, maybe you'll actually smell what you want to smell like. But I can't smell you when you have 50 different layers of things going on anyways. It's just like a hodgepodge of smells. So I don't think people always get the effect that they're trying to get.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the laundry suggestion. What do you use for laundry? Like what's your go-to?
I like Molly's.
Okay.
And then we have a store up the street that everything's just clean and refillable. I'll go there sometimes. I think, is it the EOS?
EOS, yeah.
Yeah, I think they have a fragrance free. I try not to buy like a Tide free and clear because I just don't want to support, it's kind of like a gimmick, I feel like, for them. Like they're still contributing to all the toxins, and I'd rather do like a wholeheartedly clean company. But like there's some other brands out there, like, I mean, I don't want to bash any companies, but there's some companies that claim to be clean and they are loaded with fragrance, like Myers.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think they're clean, and I can smell that from a mile away. It makes me sick. So
yeah, it's hard as a consumer. I know we've talked about this on the show. It's like it can say one thing on the bottle because there's no law that says you can't say this is natural. And so if people are seeing that, they're going to be like, oh, good. Like I'm going to take their word for it. And then, yeah, I've gotten the same thing where I'm like, wait a minute, this is so strong, because I've had to look at all this stuff in my life too. And for my health, and we've had some topical skin problems in our family, and you have to be, it's just, I don't think a lot of people don't realize that could be the root cause of a lot of the sensitivities that they're having. And did you notice like yours getting worse over time? Like when you were because I think that's another thing that happens too.
Yeah, yeah. It was like I couldn't detox anymore. And it started with maybe just headaches and then went to headaches and nausea and then went to headaches and dizziness and nausea and shakiness and, and then the eczema came, it was like accumulating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what hinders, I should say, that the detox pathways in your lymph nodes get. And that's another place we're spraying the cologne too, is like near
Yes.
our lymph nodes, which is like, how can we move things out if we're kind of putting toxins
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. Yeah. If you're going to do it, at least put it on your clothes, not right on your poor neck.
I know. Okay, so what are some of the biggest exposures that we should consider when we're buying things? I mean, there's our personal care is huge, and then there's our home. Just like, what are other things that you felt like were important for you when you were first starting out to clean everything up?
Ooh, well, I don't do candles anymore.
Yeah.
And I do like them, but I've just gone to those fake ones that do the light little burners. I have a 14-year-old daughter, so it's a constant battle with her because it's pretty trendy to wear all these perfumes, and she wants to buy the hair care that everybody's doing, and I'm like, I just can't do it. Or even going into like a Ulta or Sephora with her, I have to sit outside and give her my credit card. Yeah. Oh gosh, all the products, like my cleaning products, seventh generation I can handle, but yeah, there's so many. I'm like, I don't even know everything.
Yeah. I know when I was first learning about some of this and we were having some health issues, I was like, okay, I feel like there's like tiers. Like I started with the food, you start with food a lot of the times, but then there's the personal care, and then you start learning more and more about personal care, like to the point where I was like, okay, it's not just fragrance. We also have to worry about what's in our deodorant or the
Oh,
antiperspirant.
absolutely. Deodorant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a battle because I'm a stinky girl. So constantly buying new ones all the time, trying to find one that works. That's
I know.
not
I was
tough.
good. Do you have one that you like?
Oh gosh. No, not really. I feel like if I find one, it's good for a little while. Maybe Humble is probably the best.
Okay.
And I feel like also now that when you become ingredient conscious, you kind of become more earth conscious. And then it goes into like, oh, I don't want to buy things in plastic, and plastic can leach. So Humble's nice because it has like paper wrapper too. And then, paper, I think it's called Paper Y. That's like a nice cream deodorant in a glass jar.
Oh, pretty.
Yeah, that'll work sometimes too. So sometimes I probably have like 20 and I switch them out. I'm like, okay, maybe it'll work for a couple of days and then it doesn't. Do you have any good ones?
I feel like deodorant is tough. And I don't know. I think I've told the story on the podcast before, but oh my gosh. So when I was working in cosmetics, all the girls would buy the Donna Karan cashmere deodorant, antiperspirant. It's not deodorant, it's antiperspirant, because if it has aluminum, it's antiperspirant.
Yes.
And so I would spend this was back in the late 90s. I would spend like $18 on a deodorant, which was a lot.
That's a lot in the 90s.
It's a lot. It's a lot. They're like, the girls are like, this is the only thing that works. It's so good. And it's so fragrance. And the aluminum content was higher than any other antiperspirant that I had ever seen, which I thought was great. So I was using that. And then what I realized is that what would happen is it would wear off and my body would just like pour sweat. It was like, oh my gosh, an escape from this block. I could finally detox, but I thought that was terrible. So I would keep one in my purse and one in my car and one at home. And like, I would just reapply it all day long because I thought sweating was so gross. And I'm like, I'm such a big sweater. But what I realized was I wasn't. I was just like, it was pauses of moments where my body could actually detox from it. Yeah. And so I learned it. That was the first thing that one of the first things that I changed. And I started making my own. So I do make my own. I don't sell it or anything, but
Yeah.
it does work. But I do sweat, like as you should. It doesn't
Yeah.
completely stop you from sweating. It helps a little bit. Like it helps, some of the ingredients will help absorb the wetness. But what I found is that my body just started to regulate and I don't need it as much. And I don't smell too bad. I mean, like I have to have like a hard workout in really, really hot weather for me to like smell myself. I haven't had an issue. So I am lucky that way and I can get by with that kind of thing because deodorant, that was one of the things that I was like, wow, that's one of the most toxic products, personal care products I was using.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an important one. I think I've been even before I got sick from chemicals because my mom had breast cancer. She was
Mm,
always like, "No, you cannot use antiperspirant." So I think that this has been an ongoing journey for trying to
yeah.
find a deodorant that works without all that. Maybe not fragrance. I was probably using fragrance before I got sick, but I wasn't doing antiperspirant.
Yeah, I mean, that was another thing, another reason that started making mine is that I had a friend who developed brain cancer and her doctor said, don't use antiperspirant. And I mean, and he was not natural at all. He was just a mainstream
Wow.
oncologist. So I thought if he thinks antiperspirant is one of the first things he says don't do, I was like, that's a red flag. So I had
Yeah.
to get off. And by the way, if anybody's listening and wants to stop using antiperspirant, you have to give your body time because everybody will be like, I can't do it. I have to go back because they are like, I sweat too much. I'm smelling. Your body has to get rid of that and it takes time. So I
Yeah.
do feel like give yourself, I mean, it took me months. So
Yeah.
it's not overnight. And I think people need to know that if they really want to switch to a more natural form of deodorant, it does take some time, unfortunately.
But it's worth it.
It's worth it. Yeah, I think that's a big one. And like now that my son uses deodorant, it's like, thank goodness I know, how to steer him. And it's working great. Like all the ones that I've given him have been working great for him. Like he has no complaints. So I don't smell him at all. And that's pretty rare because I smell some of his friends. So I'm like, we're doing good. He's doing good. So I'd love to talk to you about what made you, and I'm sure, and you mentioned this a little bit, you wanted to start a hair care line because, and this is me with skincare. I want it to be clean. I want it to be more natural, but it's got to work. I mean, you're a hairstylist. You can't just have something that doesn't work for your clients. So how was that process? And tell us how you were able to find something that without fragrance that was more natural that works so well.
Yeah. Well, okay. In my salon, we are sustainable and we don't carry any products in plastic. We only carry products in aluminum or glass. And the first problem was anything that is fragrance free is in plastic. And so that it's automatically a no. But anything I've used at home in plastic to try to find something, it's always for one hair type. Like if a brand has a fragrance free, it's just the one. And
Mm-hmm.
as we know, people have different hair types. So that was something that was missing. And I bleach my hair. And so I never found any that I liked. So I didn't set out to make my own hair care line. It kind of started like talking to me at night. Like I always say, it's like if you ever saw the Queen's Gambit and she's laying in bed at night and the chess pieces are moving around, it was kind of like, you should make a shampoo line. And I'm like, no, I don't know how to make shampoo, Um, but it really hounded me for like 2 years, and my clients were complaining, and I was not happy with what I was using, and so finally I started writing everything down, and I feel like the universe was just kind of pushing me to like keep going. Like I'd meet somebody that just started their own business that would say, "Oh, you should do it," or and then I spent time researching and I wrote a business plan to basically to convince my husband to let us spend our money to start this. And it worked. And then the next step was researching labs and finding someone that could make it for me since I wasn't going to try to do this in my bathtub. Um, so I We partnered with Allure Beauty Concepts in Hayward, California, and they are. I mentioned Credo earlier. I think they're the first like verified Credo like manufacturer. So they're sustainable and they meet kind of all the criteria that I was looking for. And they formulated the best shampoos and conditioners I've ever used. So it was a little bit of trial and error. They'd make something and I'd tell them what I liked about it and what I didn't, and then they'd remake it and then I'd try it and they nailed it. So we just have the volumizing duo shampoo and conditioner and then the hydrating shampoo and conditioner. So that covers like, from limp and fine to normal hair, and then kind of from thick to coarse, and coily dry hair. And so we just started with 4 products because that's all I could afford. It's not a cheap journey, but hopefully we will do good. And then I can kind of grow this into a full professional, like salon quality hair care line. And hopefully by the time all these poor sensitive kids grow up and, need a full hair care line, I'll have one for them. That's the goal.
That's amazing. I love that you have a full on salon where you could be testing this too and like seeing how it works with your clients and all the different hair types that you must see all the time. I will say I have tried. Okay, so I'm a curly hair and my hair's straight today, but I would say lately, it's kind of 50-50 on how I wear my hair. And I use the hydrating duo and it is so amazing. I love your packaging. I love it. It's so modern. Like my line is white and black too. So I'm nice. Very drawn to that. It's so modern and it looks so good in my shower. So I think the packaging is so beautiful. I think the product's so great. So to be able to have something like that effective and to stay true to fragrance free and clean that's such a monumental feat when it comes to hair care.
They go hand in hand. Like if you care about the health of yourself, you got to care about the health of the environment. And plastic only will recycle a certain amount of times before it's too weak. So I thought, yes, it's cheaper to go that route, but that's not the goal, right? Like I just eliminate it, cut it down from the beginning, And the reason why I did black and white is because I can't see in the shower. So I'm tired of it going, is this shampoo or conditioner?
I love it. Well, and then there's one that's white and so it's so easy to be able to see. That'll be good for my kids too when they're like, which one's the shampoo? Because they always, for some reason, they prefer my shower, even though it's a tiny shower. I'm like, why are you in here? You guys have your own space. So they're going to be using it too, which I love because it's, I want my kids to, I think I did a pretty good job. I started learning about this when my kids were pretty small. And so it's been pretty good as far as keeping the toxins low in the house and with our products and with our fragrances and exposure. So I feel like that's great. And sometimes it does get confusing and you're like, oh, like, you just want to try, especially as a mom for our kids, we want to make the best choices, especially because I had a kiddo with pretty bad eczema. So, especially for those kind of skin conditions, you have to be really careful with what you put on your skin and your hair and your face, all of that.
Absolutely. Thinking about a story, one of my clients was in and her son was having really bad eczema. And I said, have you thought about changing your laundry detergent or, not doing dryer sheets? And her mother was with her. And her mother said, oh, I would never not use dryer sheets. And I just thought, your grandson is like in pain and itchy. And she couldn't even comprehend not doing that. It was so bizarre. Like some people just are so set in their ways, but.
Yeah. So tell me about dryer sheets. Do you use anything in the dryer? Do you have a ball
I just have
or
the
anything?
roll balls.
Yeah.
It's not always great in Seattle in the winter because it's dry and cold, and sometimes I have some staticky clothes. But then that's another area where I'm trying to do all cotton.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's like we're in different tiers. That's like level expert because when you get to like the clothes, oh my gosh, you learn we're wearing plastic too.
It's everywhere. It's so overwhelming.
It's so overwhelming. And then I always talk about, especially on this show, because I do believe there should be a little bit of a balance. And I don't think stress is good for us when it
Yeah.
comes to being perfect about our health. And I've gone down that road. That's why I'm speaking about this, because it's something I have done. And the stress of having to do things perfectly or not wanting to eat out because, oh, like who knows what's in the food. And that is bad too. That's toxic too. And I
Yeah.
know because that stress is toxic.
Yeah, that's unhealthy too. You can take it too far when you're
Yeah.
obsessive and like limiting living your life and being scared of everything.
It's
Yeah.
tough. There's a fine line where we do our best and we learn. That's why I have this show, so that we can keep educating ourselves and make better choices. Even if, like you said, we'll start in one area that's small. We don't have to tackle everything, but
Yeah.
especially if somebody is suffering or dealing with any type of these symptoms that we're talking about today, like take a look at what you're doing and what you're ingesting and what you're putting on your skin and what you're washing your hair with. So
Yeah.
speaking of that, please tell us if somebody wants to learn more about your line. And you're in Seattle, so if anybody wants to go and if they're lucky enough to be near you to get their hair done, tell us about that and then tell us where they can get the products.
Okay, I own Treo Organics Salon in West Seattle, and we're an amazing salon. There's 12 of us stylists there. We just launched in October, and we carry it at my salon. We have it online at treoorganics.com. It's in a few local hair salons right now besides ours, and we're working on getting it in other places as well. So, yeah, and it's getting great reviews and really good feedback. So,
Well, I love it. Everybody go. I'll link all this in the show notes too, so that you can go straight to my show notes and look up Treo. And thank you so much, Sarah. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Good luck with your line.
Thank you. I want to know more about yours too. So
yeah, I'll tell you more about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please subscribe and review so we can reach more people who want to learn to glow alongside us. See you next time.